excited about bringing on my next guest, who is Roland Bennett, and unfortunately, he has to call it in. We've got all sorts of sounds going on in my ear right now, so I don't know what's going on. We might have his... Roland, are you causing technical difficulties or what?
I am not having technical difficulties, and I thought the plan was we were going to try to pull it off as if
you want to
I was in there already.
Well, try and get in here as you're coming in.
Let's
start
go to the top
over.
of the show. Bring us back into the top of the show, Carol.
I have with me Roland Bennett. Roland Bennett, how long have you been doing this show? And how long, let's talk a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I'll tell you what. So, Carol, thank you so much for having me on the show again. It's always a pleasure being on the Carol Blonder Show, Networking Arizona on 1100 AM radio, KFNX. Long-time listener, a few-time caller. But, I'll tell you what. My business personally has had a huge impact just by being able to get my story and my message out to the people of the Metro Phoenix area and people listening around the nation online by being on Networking Arizona with Carol Blonder.
Well, that's so nice of you, Roland. Thank you.
Having me on your show. I know lots of people are in line. You've got a waiting list a mile long, and every time that I get to have a chance to talk with you online on the airwaves, it's always a pleasure.
And you know what?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for all of that. You know what, Roland, we're also live on Facebook. So even though Roland is on the phone with us right now, we're doing this live on Facebook. And you know what? You're probably one of the funniest guests that I have. You just got a great personality, but you do also do what you do, and you do it well. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on.
I'm a mortgage lender, and I cover every single mortgage lending product out there that you can think of for any type of residential property from 1 to 4 units. FHA loans, VA purchase loans, USDA purchase loans, conventional loans, Fannie Mae loans, Freddie Mac loans, hard money loans, all-day loans, bank statement loans, self-employed borrowers, second homes, investment properties, refinance loans, streamlined refinance loans. I do not handle loan modifications because anybody that says they're going to third-party broker that for you is somebody you should not talk to. Loan mods are done at the bank. I handle when you buy or refinance a property, and I do it in 13 states nationwide. But, Carol, I'll tell you what. If we could get people onto the Networking Arizona 1100 KFNX Facebook page, since we are live, what I'm going to do is I've got some coffee certificates. I won't say where it at, because some people are partial to Starbucks. The others are more of a Dutch brother crowd. So we'll keep it a surprise of where it's to. But whoever is watching on the KFNX Networking Arizona live Facebook page right now, I'm going to be walking into that studio in a very short period of time. The first person to make a comment live on Facebook that they see me, I will send those coffee certs out to them right away. So
don't get your butt in here. Okay, here's what we're going to do also. I'll let everyone call in, too. It's Networking Arizona radio show. That's what you do. And everybody like the page. Go in and like it, too. And you're going to like Roland for sure. But he's
let's throw this out there, too, because what I want to get the message out, I want to talk about being a self-employed business owner and how your tax returns affect or in real estate. So if you can throw the phone number out there, Carol, for the radio station, what I'd really love to have happen is for anybody who's self-employed that has been maybe given not so great news from any sort of bank or mortgage broker or anybody telling them can't borrow the amount of money they want to borrow because their tax returns don't show enough income. I want to do it on the air, get somebody who has been told no, and show them where we can find the extra income and work through a creative solution on how to get that self-employed borrower who's been told no turned into a yes, so they can go out and make an offer on a house that they want to live in and stop wasting money on rent, paying some landlord's equity for them.
The number to call
so
here.
What's that number?
602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Turn your radio off so I can hear myself, Roland. Okay.
My radio off. I'll try Bluetooth out.
I think that's what it is. So here's what we're going to do.
I'll see if that sounds better. Is that a little better, Carol?
A lot better, thank you. So here's what we want to do. I want to say that again. Anybody who is self-employed, if you've gotten denied, he's going to do this right for you right here. He wants to do it. He wants to show you how he can turn that round into a yes. Call us here at...
So let's talk about that, and just let me know when we need to go to break. But what I want to get the phone number out there for is anybody that's self-employed that's looking to buy a house and they're not sure if their tax returns show enough income to buy a house. Now, the good news is that a lot of people, when they go in to buy a house, even just a regular person that's got a salary, a W-2 job, they're an employee, a W-2 employee for somebody, they come in and they hope they qualify, but 9 times out of 10, people qualify for a higher payment than what they would ever even want to, have as a mortgage payment anyhow. So at the same token, on the other side of that, sometimes people that are self-employed are shy to apply for the mortgage loan because they just assume that their tax returns don't show enough income to qualify for the payment they want to get into. So what I'm able to do is educate them on what you actually need to show in income, and what a lot of lenders, especially people that have not been in the business a very long time, or they're just not used to doing self-employed tax underwriting, is that there's actually some deductions that self-employed business people take that can be added back into the net income on their tax returns. So just because your tax returns show $30,000 a year, I might be able to have an effective income of $45,000 or $46,000 for the year because I can add some deductions back into your net income. And many people are not aware of that. So that's really the message I want to get out there, and the education I want to get out there that says, just because your AGI, or the gross adjusted gross income is lower than you think would be reasonable to get a loan, doesn't mean that your AGI is what they call in the underwriting world an effective income. So I forgot that number. What's the number if I want to call in?
If you want the number here to call at the station for you to be on the air?
Yes. For the self-employed people.
Oh, for them to call in. Okay, I'm sorry. I got a little mixed up there. I got lots of numbers in my mind.
I thought I was on the air.
Our number here for you to call in is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So you can call in here if you're a self-employed, you've gotten denied. He's going to turn that into a yes for you. Also, he's going to give away a coffee to anything. He's not going to tell you what it's going to be. You're going to get a coffee card for something.
You're getting a coffee cert for the first person on Facebook Live to watch me walk into your studio, which is going to be, I got to get a warning out there, it's going to be about 2 minutes.
So again, give us a call here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can check him out. It is Roland Bennett Loans.com. That's Bennett with 2 T's. You can also call him direct. That number is 602-513-3686. But call in here. Tell us if you've been denied. He wants to help you. He has helped many, many people. I know that. You've been on my show a lot of times, and you've helped a lot of people. Our number here again, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Roland, go out to the break now. Go and tell them what you want to say.
Well, I'll tell you. So the 2 biggest things for a self-employed borrower, because I promise this information, is either you're a sole proprietor and you have an LLC, and if you do so, there's most likely you file your income on a Schedule C. Now, if you file your LLC as an S-Corp because your CPA said, hey, I could probably, shelter you from some taxes if you if we filed as an S-Corp, which is a legal option of tax filing, then when you file as an S-Corp, you actually file a separate corporate return, and they call it an 1120S return.
You're an expert at what you do, Roland. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk further. Our lines are open here. He wants anyone who is self-employed, who have you gotten denied, he can help you turn around that into a yes for sure. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can check him out. It's Roland Bennett. That's 2tsloans.com. You can also call him direct at 602-513-3686. And call in here. You're also going to get that coffee card if you tell him that you've seen him when he walks in the door. Everybody on Facebook Live, go in and like us and tell us what you think about Roland Bennett, too. Again, that number here is 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Welcome back, everyone. We are live on Facebook with everyone that's watching. And Roland Bennett, you are now what?
In studio.
You are in studio now.
In studio.
And anybody who had texted in, not texted in, but wrote in that, that he's in?
The first person to comment on Facebook, and we can go back to the Facebook comments, right?
Yeah, later.
So the first person, we'll go back through there. Just put your name and your number so I can contact you, get your address. We'll send out those coffee cards. Thanks for watching. Love this show. And Carol, it's just so good to be in the studio with you.
I love when you're here. You make me laugh so much because you're the greatest. And not only that, you're really good at what you do. You've been doing this for how long?
I have been funding residential mortgage loans now for 15 years.
For 15 years. And not only that, you're licensed in other states. So there's
13 states I'm licensed in. So whether you're moving out of Arizona, so I'm a big resource to listing agents when they have a client that's moving out of state. I can handle loans in California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Texas, and Idaho's gorgeous. Have you been to Idaho?
No, but actually my kids have.
We just went to Oregon for the first time, and Crater Lake National Park. I mean, that state is just gorgeous, and I hear Idaho is even better.
It is.
But Colorado, Tennessee, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, and Florida.
Wow. So we were talking a little bit.
South Dakota. Sorry.
Is there anything else?
And North Carolina.
That's what I'm telling you about. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We want to also open up the lines. We have people that are calling in. If you'd like to,
let's
tell
bring
us.
them in. Self-employed borrowers.
Self-employed people, if you've gotten denied, call in now and tell us that you've gotten denied, and he's going to tell you that he can turn that into a yes.
Well, and I'll tell you.
Let me get that number out. It's 602-277-5369, and toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100.
And it's not even that you've been denied either. Maybe you're self-employed and you want to buy a house, right? And you're not sure. Well, I'm not sure. So I just talked to a self-employed borrower, and we're going to, obviously retain anonymity on the name, and we're going to call him Bob, right? So Bob calls up, and Bob says he wants to buy a house, and he sends me his tax returns for 2015 and 2016, right? Well, 2016 tax returns are less than the income of the 2015 tax returns, and they're lower by 35%. So what does that mean when you get a loan into underwriting? Well, when you submit a loan to underwriting, most of the banks are going to take all your paperwork, 2 years tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs, whatever you have. If you're self-employed, you won't have the W-2s and pay stubs, but if you're self-employed, you'll have the tax returns. They submit them to the underwriting. The underwriter gets them, and here's the rule with Fannie Mae, right? Which is like 90% of conventional loans that are underwritten. It's also the rule with VA and FHA loans. If you are self-employed, you've got to average your income based on your quote-unquote effective income. And that's the message I want to get out there, is that underwriting effective income is not always exactly what your tax returns say your income are. Or even for a W-2 person, just because your year-to-date W-2 pay is $57,000 doesn't mean $57,000 is your quote-unquote effective income in terms of mortgage underwriting, right? So when they send it in there, they look at the 2-year returns. But here's a bad thing. Declining income. If your most recent year, 2016, is less than the previous year, 2015, on the 2-year combined that you have to do, that's bad. They consider it declining income. And in small business, when income declines, they go out of business. So there is a forgiveness percentage, and that's 20%. So if your income is declining by 20% or less, then you can still average the 2 years with a acceptable explanation of why it decreased 20%, and then also a profit and loss year to date for 2017 to show that you're on track back for the 2015 numbers, right? So you've got to document that it was a blip in the radar and why you're on track for better. But if your decline in income is greater than 20%, some lenders call it 25% depending on their overlays, but if it's greater, then they call it declining income greater than 20%, unacceptable, zero effective income. They say you're going down in flames, right? So the only way then to get that accepted is by not showing the previous year that was 20% or more greater than your most recent year. And you've got to get through underwriting somehow with just 1 year tax returns. There are ways to do that, but you've got to know what you're doing. For example, Freddie Mac has a specific rule for that. I don't want to give so much information to where people get confused, but you throw the actual rules out there, and then guys like me that I like when people decline people because I get a lot of business out of it, right?
Right.
So I don't necessarally want to educate my competitors as much as I want to educate that person who's self-employed.
Be careful out there. Yeah, because you know what, that's the thing about you is that you are. First of all, you're an expert in numbers.
Well, I love numbers. I was a math major in college. I'm a numbers guy. I consider myself a numbers guy. I love numbers, but I also consider myself kind of an artist, kind of a creative type personality. So I like to be creative and work with numbers, and
so
I found
when you do
I think I'm in the right job for that. Is what I found out. Real estate.
We've got our lines open here. You can call in anybody who's self-employed. I know that there was a caller, but they might have been embarrassed. I don't know what happened, but it's okay.
Even if you want to call in just to give me your number,
that's
you don't have to be online. Just or text me your number.
He does free consultations with everyone. And if you got denied, he's going to show you how he can turn it into a yes. Also, he's going to give away a coffee card for anyone. Also, we're just saying anyone who calls in at this point right now, right?
Well, at this point.
Because you're in.
This point, yeah. But here's also the deal.
The coffee's in.
And even if you were declined, what I can also help you with is, let's say you just started a business. So you need 2 years self-employed. You need to be self-employed for 2 years. Let's say you've got a year and a half. By the time you're 2 years, you're going to have to file taxes for 2017. Okay? Let's make sure that the tax return that you file has your deductions appropriated correctly so that they're accurate to your business. Because a lot of CPAs are like, well, let's write this off, write this off, write this off. Well, let me let you know which deductions can be added back in. And if you have actual real deductions that fit into those categories, don't let some fast-talking CPA just throw those deductions somewhere else. Let's put them in the right spot where they can be added back in as income in a legal way where you're actually telling the true story of your own business, because we wouldn't want to paint a picture to the IRS that's not accurate.
Right. So our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Your website is Roland Bennett Loans with an S.com.
Good info on there.
With an S and also two T's.
Well, 2 T's, 2 N's, 2 E's, 1 B. The E's aren't together, but the B's in the beginning, just like Tony Bennett, your favorite singer.
Now, you can also call him direct. The number is 602.
You weren't ready for that one, were you?
No, I wasn't.
Neither
but
602.
Was I. That really was good.
I've never said that before.
602-513-3686.
I've never said that before, okay? Nobody's ever seen anything like that, ever.
So you see what we're doing? We're having fun. He is the most fun I've ever had. Every time you come on, you make me literally almost pee.
And that's what I pay you to say. And that's what I pay you to say,
we've
Carol.
Got somebody on the line. Bob, you're on the line. What's your question?
Well, this is Bob, or you can call me Robert or Bobby, whatever you want to call me. But I'm having a tough time because I'm self-employed. You know, I'm a rancher, and some things happened medically, so our income was down a little bit from the prior year. So is that still going to hurt me?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you've got a bona fide hardship to where you can explain that decline, then you know, that may or may not hurt you. Have you been in business for more than 5 years?
Yes, I have.
And are you the owner of the LLC?
Yes, I am.
Well, then let me get your number. Stay online. I'm going to get your contact number because I can show you.
I'll take care of that for you. We'll
okay,
get that
let's
off.
do that.
We'll get
Thanks
you
for calling
connected.
in, Bobby.
We'll get you connected. Thanks for the call. Again, our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. If anyone else wants to call in, if you're self-employed, got denied, he's going to turn it into a yes for you. Listen, we have a shorter amount of time because we lost a lot of time with that. So,
with what
else? Well, because you were, on the air and on the phone, and then in the car, and then with the whole thing with the Tony
what
Bennett
happened
thing.
was there was an accident on McKellips in the 202, and I literally pulled an elderly woman out of a burning car
in order to be on my show.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about also some of the different other loans that you also work with.
Well, let me just talk to Bobby out there who just called in. So if he's a rancher, he might actually be in an area that USDA loans in, which gives 100% no money down, which is the only other 100% loan out there other than a VA loan. So, Bobby, that might be a good thing for you. And also, I can go off of the 1-year tax return if you've been self-employed for more than 5 years, so we may not have to show a decline in income, and that's where the loophole will be with Bobby. But what did you ask?
What about the VA loans and all the other loans that you can do?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me take this opportunity right now to thank all the veterans, because there's a lot of scary stuff going on in the world right now. I know a lot of vets are concerned. Thoughts and prayers out to all the service members in Guam with the scare going on. That can't be any fun for their families with this stuff going on. So rightfully and deservingly, the VA loan is number one, the best loan on the market. And if you are a veteran, call up to the Carol Blonder Show, and I can help you get into a house with no money out of pocket.
The number to call, 602-277-5369, or call them direct at 602-513-3686.